order the March 19th Corcoran Parks and Trails Commission. And we'll start with roll call. Christensen here.
Anderson here.
Schmidt here.
Nybo here.
All right, and I invite everyone to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, so we're moving on to agenda approval, but before we do that, I'm going to make a motion to move up 8A to, let's call it 6A. How's that sound? Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Great, all those in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion passes. Then do we approve the agenda as amended?
I move that.
All right, I will make a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion passes. Agenda approved. All right, let's review the meeting minutes. Any questions, comments, corrections, etc.?
Nice work, Seth. Move we accept the minutes as posted.
Okay, do we have a second, or do we have a correction over there?
It just wasn't loading for her.
Oh,
She got it.
okay.
We're good.
Too bad.
Good.
All right, I'll make a second to approve the agenda. All those in favor? Or not the agenda, to approve the meeting minutes from the February 19th meeting. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 All right, open forum, public comment opportunity. It's not your part yet. And then we move on to presentations, which we have none. So we will go to the new 6A item, Karen Mimi Orchard preliminary plat. You have a presentation?
Yes, so tonight we will be talking about Karanimi Orchards. This is the preliminary plat. An overview of the request. It's a 7-lot single-family subdivision. It's located at the intersection of County Road 30 and 116, directly north of Duffney Drive. And the 2040 comp plan shows an off-road trail following the wetland complex on the property. The Parks and Trails Commission feedback is requested for the following items: trail access location and trail construction location. Future connection in the 2040 Parks and Trails plan. The off-road trail is planned to extend north. It's intended to connect to the future on-road trail along Hillside Drive. The implementation constraints the connection to Hillside Drive requires trail construction through multiple existing residential properties. No trail easement exists on these properties, unlikely to redevelop, so connecting to Hillside is kind of unfeasible at this point. Without redevelopment, it's unlikely that the trail easements will be dedicated as stated. Alternatively, staff believes a connection to the east would provide a more practical location for future extension of the trail. The neighboring property is a 72-acre farmstead that is located within the 2040 MUSA, more likely to develop in the near future. And the neighboring property abuts to Hope Meadows development, and that contains the Diamond Lake Regional Trail. The trail connection to the east gives this development future access to that trail and the broader Three Rivers Park District system, as well as city trails. The Parks and Trails Commission is requested to provide a recommendation on the trail connection for the proposed off-road trail. Option 1, maintaining that connection to Hillside Drive, or option 2, revising the trail to allow the connection to the east. If we'd like to discuss this part, or we can move to the next part, and then if the audience members are
What's the next part?
the trail location.
I think I'd like to do it as a one piece.
Okay. So this is more specific to like the wetland alignment. So the 2040 comp plan shows the off-road trail following the edge of the nearby wetland. However, there is a significant slope around the edge of the wetland, which limits the feasible location to either the bottom of the bluff or near the top of the bluff. If constructed at the bottom, portions of the trail would be located within the floodplain, and that is discouraged because it will increase the maintenance cost of the trail with the saturated and unstable soils. Periodic flooding would result in unstable segments of the trails for portions of the year, and it may result in
Degradation.
Yep, thank you. For whatever reason, I'm going a million miles a minute.
All right.
I'll slow down. We normally don't have an audience, I think. we're-
Yeah.
I know, but that's more than normal.
Yes, it's more than usual.
It's a mouthful for a word, that's for sure.
Honestly, it's a mouthful in general.
Yeah.
Alternatively, the trail could be constructed near the top of the slope. This avoids the floodplain impacts and associated risks and provides direct trail access for the homeowners. This alignment would require grading portions of existing tree line, resulting in the loss of mature trees, which is why we are bringing that forward to you. It is unclear how many trees would be removed through this process, and if selected, the applicant will need to provide a tree inventory documenting species, size, and condition of the trees near the trail. The applicant rough sketch of an alternative alignment that is located along the eastern boundary of the site is shown on this slide. It follows the edge of the wetland across lots 3 through 4, then turns east, crossing the public roadway before continuing north. With the rough sketch, staff is unable to complete a full review of this proposal, but at a conceptual level, there's some concerns regarding the reduction in connectivity to the natural features and deviating from the trail goals outlined in the comp plan, and it creates potential conflict with trail users crossing a public roadway. We're hoping that you guys can provide a recommendation on the trail location for the proposed off-road trail. Option 1, bottom of the bluff. Option 2, near the top of the bluff. Option 3, along the east side of the development. And we can go back as well. Otherwise, we can go into park dedication.
Yeah. Should we just finish?
Sure.
Yeah, go into park dedication.
So park dedication, I'm not going to give you guys all the details. You've seen the park dedication scale enough. With that, the trail easement area is 0.34, so 28-ish% of the dedication requirement. So the rest would be satisfied as cash in lieu of land. The estimate is $30,129.21. With staff's recommendations, it would come to about $26,241. So slightly less by about $4,000. In summary, looking for 2 recommendations. Trail access location, option 1, maintaining that connection to Hillside Drive, or option 2, connecting to the eastern parts, and also trail construction location, option 1, bottom of the bluff within the floodplain, 2, top of the bluff out of the floodplain, 3, away from the wetland along the east side of the site. And then staff's recommendation at the bottom. And now I've slowed down.
That's everything?
Yes.
Would you like to speak? No?
Yeah. Do you want me to stand up?
Yep, stand up, put a microphone, say your name and your address, please.
All right, good evening. So I'm Sana Kirinimi. Address is 20795 Larkin Road, Corcoran. That's our current address, not this address. Feedback, the reason I'm here is we plan to build out here, kind of in the back northwestern portion of the property. So kind of a flag shape and top kind of back left. And the trail, the 2 options that are proposed come through, which would be our future yard. So we have kids and dog, and we have concerns about people accessing the trail, especially with young kids and the dog, just, people, dogs running back and forth, kids, etc. So definitely are interested in proposing or drawing attention to the eastern, this drawing here. Also sensitive to the fact that crossing the road is a potential issue. So I don't know if we can get creative around, following the culvert or something like that. Not the culvert, but the cul-de-sac. Thank you. Something like that, but it is a cul-de-sac and it is 7 houses, so it's not going to be a very busy roadway. But that is all I have to bring to your attention, just for your consideration. And then Paul.
So which Which house are you?
Well, there's a 6 there, so I don't know if it's lot 6, but kind of where that number 6 is in the middle.
At the end of the cul-de-sac, kind of?
Yeah,
Oh,
I see 5, I
you
see
sent
4.
me.
I can't zoom in on the PowerPoint, I can pop
Yeah.
out and get the PDF up if you'd like. so you can-
yeah, the top, I guess maybe I need to get my eyeglasses checked. H? Yeah, yeah,
Oh, H.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Nice spot.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's really nice, and we have 5 kids. The youngest is 5 years old, so hoping that, it'd be a good yard and area for them in the long term.
So, and your thought would be to, tell me again, to have, now that I've got the picture.
So this yellow line here is our proposed option. Following the, still getting the trail. Like, we're not opposed to the trail. We think it's a great idea.
So, but your suggestion that we go between lot 4 and lot 5.
The yellow line,
Or totally to the east.
totally to the east.
All the way to.
Following the
it's
border.
like cross the road, across the cul-de-sac road, just before you get to the cul-de-sac.
Right. No.
Will your property go way to the back,
Yeah.
to that back line?
Yeah, and so the other alternatives, I think the low, you can see kind of the topography here. The low-lying area doesn't make any sense at all. As she pointed out, there's maintenance and whatever. So then the best next option would be that high ground, but that cuts through then the middle of our yard, and with kids and dog, that is not ideal for us.
And so whoever buys lots 4 and 5, they'd be buying it knowing that the trail was going to go there.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, of course, yeah.
And where are the trees that would need to be?
Paul can talk about that, but I believe it's along the dark shaded section there, which kind of shows that there's a tree line. Paul, is that where they would be? I think that's where at least where when we walked the property, that, those.
Make sure you say your name.
Yep, I'm Paul Otto with Otto Associates, 9 West Division Street in Buffalo. I'm the project engineer. So I'm going to speak more on the engineering side of things that we've been looking at. You can kind of see the line, it's kind of like a little line half circle, just like where her house is. If you go to the west, there's a, yep. So there's a slope there. So the farmer's been farming the field, and there's the slope down to the wetland that they haven't been farming, so there's a mature woods on that edge. We looked at this for the Karenemis, and we did provide you with a plan that shows trying to meet all the requirements of the city, out of the wetland, out of the floodplain. It's kind of unique down there because the wetland's actually about 75 feet away from the floodplain, so there is really room in there to do it, but if we're going to keep the trail out of the floodplain, then we're into that hill. And so that's why the bottom isn't real feasible. On the top of the bluff, I guess, not as an engineer. Personally, I live on a large rural lot, and I have that acreage out there, and to have a public trail, it's going to be a west-facing walkout. The slopes face west, so it's going to be a west-facing walkout home. And to have a trail in your backyard with people going through there on a 7 or 8 acre lot, it just doesn't seem to make sense to me on a personal level. Professionally, can we put it in there? Yes, we can. But I think it makes a lot more sense to come up the road. We are crossing the road, but there's really only 2 lots. It's at the end of a cul-de-sac. If you look at what's on the east side, that's in the MUSA. So when we say that, it's going to be sewer and water. It's going to be more highly developed. It probably makes a little more sense to have a trail that abuts that property line to connect into that development and start to funnel people to it and go north-south from there. So that's kind of how we came up with this alternate. We didn't really know about the connection to the north there and where you want it. We didn't wherever you want to have that, I don't think we have a preference on, you know, whether it comes into the northeast corner or we come back down the line to the west. That isn't really going to affect them a whole lot in that respect. So those are kind of my comments on an engineering side and a little bit of my practical side as well, so. But I don't know if you have any other questions about the plan or that. I can answer a lot of that. Thank you.
I have a quick
Yep.
question for you on that, both on that again. So this is the alternate route across the road. Wouldn't the trail just be on the right side of your property or the east side of your property in this map?
Yep, be on the east property line, yep. And then it would come back, we would get back down to the wetland complex, and it would allow the next 20 acres, when that develops, to connect back through along the wetland. It's not steep slopes down in there, and we had done a previous plan that included the 20 acres, and that area over there is not as drastically steep as this. So, and we can make it work around lots 3 and 4 there on the bottom to kind of help maintain and get back down to what the comp plan map says. Kind of hard because you put together a comp plan and you say, let's connect a trail here to here, and you don't, I mean, you can't analyze every single property and figure out where it should go. So we're asking for a little flexibility in that.
What do we have, do you have the comp plan for what's to the west?
You probably remember that.
Kind of.
Yeah.
But did we gain all that?
On the other side of the,
Did we gain easement for it?
yeah, I believe so.
Not-
I mean,
not on-
it's only like,
Not on the 20 yet, because the 20 acres was,
no, on the other side of the wetland, is that?
oh, okay.
Haven or
You have it over there?
Kane-
Okay,
You
Kane, on
Yep.
Kane Road there, there's
Sure.
like 7 or 8 houses in there.
okay,
And some of us remember when those went in.
Mm-hmm.
And man, we went back and forth and all around.
Sure.
Getting a trail easement there, and I don't remember what we decided to do. I remember little bits of it. Yeah, I don't know quite when we ended
So we
up.
do have a trail easement.
On the other side of that wetland. There is. I don't think that it was ever, or it's not connected to anything, because then there's that kind of wetland right up, almost County Road 30. Right up to County Road 30, and there's one little hill in there. The trail was supposed to stop there for the picnic table, or some sort of signage. I don't think that ever happened. And then across the wetland, next to that is where the weather station is. Yeah. Ooh.
So right now, the trail, the Bowie's Trail in comp plan is that 4 inch, just to the left of the purple, correct?
Yes. And it's supposed to go out
Yes.
to King.
Okay.
Yep.
And then the larger lot on the right of the purple, that's undeveloped farmland right now.
correct.
Okay.
And your purple line is the city sewer line.
Yeah.
Yep. So if you have it on the west side, those 2 parcels, then we're just missing the old farmstead parcel to connect our trail to that other side, if that's the case. So when that comes through, those 2 could be connected. This map almost shows it to the east line too, you know, if you look at it.
All right, so our 3 options are basically show how it shows on the comp plan and go to the north, which that seems the least likely because it goes right into all those houses, so we'd never be able to actually bring it in anything. I'll wait till you get there.
So first topic of discussion is maintaining the connection to Hillside or moving it to connect to the eastern property. As of right now, unless Hillside were to redevelop, which is unlikely.
It's kind of no-brainer. We're gonna, everyone pretty good at option two there. Okay, so we're gonna,
Yeah.
either way, we're gonna get to the right, so you guys connect the trail, okay. So then it's just, how do we want that trail to look?
I think option one's out.
Yeah, that makes it.
Under the trail construction, correct? And do you have any idea what kind of trees are over there?
There are some really nice maple deals, really gorgeous oaks, couple of maples, and then there's a lot of just scrub and
Right.
rubbish and whatever, yeah. The oaks, though, are really painful to cut them.
Yeah.
Is there space to go, if there are a few of those, I mean, we put trails into a larger space, but we were able to really cite, the trail isn't straight, which
Yeah.
is always good for a trail.
Yeah.
So in some cases, you could stay out of the drip line of the oak trees
Yeah,
for a new trail.
I mean, I don't know, I haven't walked where this option is, right, against the trees. I don't know if Paul can chart those trees
Ye-
yet or not, but.
Yeah, we haven't located the trees, but the trees are located on the slope, so if we're gonna put in a 20-foot wide trail, we gotta do grading up from the
Yeah,
side. It's gonna be hard to,
So it is complicated.
it's gonna be hard to snake around them. I know what you're saying, but,
If it's a mix of some ash and elm in there,
Right.
and some, box elder, then
Right.
it becomes much more doable than if it's mostly oaks and maples.
right, yeah, and I haven't walked that wood, so I can't comment on what's in there, but,
Yeah, there's some nice trees, but it's a mix. But that eastern line, there are no mature trees there, so that's definitely a benefit.
I think that would be, I think looking at the wetland from the top of the bluff is pretty scenic. I just don't see a problem running it up
Are you aware, like, what that would look
there.
like?
Well, you can't get in there, it's not, it's private property, there's no road.
The road you
But if you
can't.
look at it from the other side, you can see it looking up at the space from,
Kane Road?
yeah, yeah.
So are you saying from the top of the bluff, or are you saying away from the
Well, I think that I'm liking what the homeowner is suggesting there,
along the eastern side?
on the eastern side,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's a really beautiful sunset view. I think
Yeah.
was it you or in your PowerPoint? Someone mentioned sunset. It's a really great, it's a perfect view of the setting sun to the west as you walk in the sky.
I don't think it was me, but I'm
Maybe I'm imagining it. I don't know. I swear I did it.
And it would be beautiful.
Yeah.
There you go, because you're looking west.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the bicyclist or hiker would get the chance to be down at the edge of the wetland further
Yeah.
south on the trail, and then you hike up. I think that's a really nice look.
The east trail.
Yeah, and I think that's right, the east property line.
So,
And that would give yep,
it's going this way?
yep.
Okay, yep, because if you go here, then you have likely views.
Yeah,
Is that what you're-
well, if you come up here, and then come over here, and then go up here, it's a downhill view into the wetland.
Got it.
I think that works, and that gives the next development some options as to how they take the trail.
Connect the trail anywhere along it.
And that's a good thing, too.
So is this, there is no road here going north?
Yeah.
If there would.
Meaning
be.
past the end of the cul-de-sac?
Yeah.
there's so the larger circle that's kind of pinkish on this map is the end of the city cul-de-sac. The Carinamies will have a driveway that crosses, there's a big ditch there that'll cross that ditch and come back up to their house. They'll have a real long driveway. But the cul-de-sac is south of that ditch, actually in what's being farmed right now. And their driveway's gonna kind of weave through the woods and kind of turn, so you probably won't even see their house from the cul-de-sac because they're the way we've kind of angled the driveway around.
So you'll be able to see the trail if it eventually makes its way north like that from your house then?
Yes.
Yeah, but we would probably plant some arborvitae or something.
And it's more of a front yard versus the backyard
Yeah,
thing.
yeah. You just don't know, Corcoran has good people, but you just don't know who's on a public trail.
Yeah. Is that a lot P on the right, the furthest right?
That's a septic site
Oh,
proposed.
septic.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
the P and A are septics, yep.
Oh, I see. Yours is the whole lot.
Yep.
All right. Well, the trail makes sense. We save some trees while we're doing it. And the property owner, this will help them as they develop their site.
Have lots 3 and 4 been sold yet, do you know?
I know, I think there's still, Paul can probably talk about that, I think there's still some planning in terms of waiting for some of these details.
Yeah, we've got,
I will ask you, what, at least,
I'm sorry.
no, you're
I-
good,
I'm-
otherwise it's hard for minutes.
I know the rules, yeah, sorry. Yeah, we're at the first step, so we're at preliminary plat. So we will still have to do final plans and come back with final plat. So technically, until preliminary plat is approved, they can't sign a purchase agreement. So I don't know if they
So
have.
they will know there is a trail.
Yes, yeah, that will be all recorded through the city, and it will be memorialized on their deed. So they'll know, and all of our plans will show an easement on there, so. We will have to make a new plan that shows the grading for the city engineer and staff to review, and you guys might end up seeing it again, but just so you are aware of that.
Would this trail require more of our parks fund? What would do the math there, you know?
This one, you would get more.
Probably going to be kind of similar to what the city staff option was, I would guess.
Yeah, this one, they estimated at 30,129.
Okay.
And then the staff proposal was 26,000.
Okay.
So slightly less chance at in the tree, potentially, but the grading.
Yeah, there could be more, yeah. Okay.
Does anybody have a problem with it crossing the road?
Not a road like this.
Not that road.
It's kind of what I was thinking too, but I just thought I'd ask.
Any other concerns? No? Okay, so you are looking for a recommendation?
Bottom of page 6.
6.
Well, at least the first one, and then recommending for the,
Can you pull up the slide on the wrong sheet or something? Yes, that's one. Okay, I will do a motion. Okay. I'll make a motion to recommend option 2, to put the connection at the eastern property, and then for the trail construction location, option 3, away from the wetland along the eastern boundary of the site, crossing the road and connecting to the east. Any other further comment? Otherwise, need a second.
I'll second that.
All right, great. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, motion passes. Thanks for coming in, you guys.
Thank you. That was very helpful.
Appreciate the input.
Good discussion.
Good luck with your new home.
Yeah,
Thank you. It'll be a while still, but thank you.
well, I'll come over when it's done.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, let's get back to the agenda here. All right, no other presentations. We'll move on to unfinished business, 7A, chairperson and vice chairperson election. Do you want to let us know what that's about?
yes, you elect a chair and a vice chair. Tonight, we are missing our vice chair, But it
That's how
has,
you get elected.
it has been done before. Chair Christensen can attest to that. I don't know if that's how you became vice or chair, but either way, we did ask you though. That being said, you can either make a motion for both at the same time, you can make a motion for one and then the next. You can throw someone under the bus.
Anyone else wanna take a turn, be vice or chair? No?
I think you guys are doing a great job.
We pick someone at random. It's an option too.
I think you guys did great and should have another year at it.
Yeah. All right, would someone like to make a motion then?
I'll make a motion for Phil to be the chairperson
Oh, I appreciate that.
and Gary to be the vice chair, providing he approves after we can.
What do we need to get the motion to pass? I should probably abstain from this?
No.
No?
No,
because
you can agree to it.
Conflict of interest, but I guess.
I mean,
Yeah,
I
no,
think it counts as an agreement as well.
Okay, all right. I still get a vote.
Yeah.
All right.
I'll second that.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Nobody said nay.
Yeah.
It
All right,
does
that's
not
one more year
define
then.
how that process happens. I
Okay.
included that in the
I
report.
love that.
That's a yearly thing? Okay. Good to know. All right, moving on. 7B,
You are committed, yes.
Parks and Trails Plan pre-work.
Okay, I made this slideshow, I feel a little more confident, I can slow down a little bit, and then people,
You
so
did
I'm
great.
sorry. So last week, we had a joint work session between the Parks and Trails Commission and the City Council. You were all in attendance. Thank you. That said, there were some conversations that we felt could use further discussion from that. There was also a suggestion to look at prioritizing parks and maybe finding an order to developing them. I put together a slideshow. It's not super in the weeds, it's kind of in the weeds. It's kind of how you're gonna make it, I guess is what I'm saying. At the end of this, I kind of lay out some questions. We're looking for a vision, we're looking for a scope, we're looking for what do you want from a Parks and Trails plan? If you didn't feel comfortable, it was a long work session, so we just felt like maybe there was more that could be shared if you
Sure.
felt more comfortable in the setting or if you just were tired.
Yeah. All right, let's see what you got.
Currently, we have a few parks. We've got neighborhood parks, community parks. We're working on a linear park, and we also have the Memorial Garden, and I just don't really know where to put that one. It's kind of a mix, right? So Memorial Garden, we've got Wildflower, and the County Road 116 to Vera Park. Community parks, we've got Heritage Park, the Old Sturbridge, Ravinia Neighborhood Area OSP, the Northeast Corcoran / Bellwether OSP, and then consistently developing along 116 the linear park. I figured I'd give a quick overview because I thought more people wouldn't know about the parks, but
I appreciate that.
yeah, you get the history. So Wildflower Park, this is the one located within the Ravinia neighborhood. It was approved in council in 2017, currently has a playground, which was installed in 2018, and has an open grassy area. There is the projected future work of the pavilion that was discussed a while-ish ago. The Northeast Corcoran / Bellwether Neighborhood Park, it was approved at council in phases. So part of it in 2018, part of it in 2020, part of it in 2021, just because of the parcels and how they fell within the additions of the development. Trust me, we looked into this. It was different. Currently, it does not have a playground. Is that what you're looking at? Yeah.
I'm like, I don't
I
remember
thought you were
that.
talking,
Did
yeah,
you put
no,
that in last week?
no, it
Okay.
has nothing.
Has not,
That-
there's no
Because we
playground
looked at it,
installed.
we did a
I wanted to
walk
keep
around.
the same format, but apparently I forgot to take off the wording. It does not have anything. Ignore the bottom half of that.
That's okay.
This is what it looks like today. That I can promise you, I was out there. You can see that it doesn't really have anything. It is intended to get regraded once they finish using it for staging, which is anticipated for this spring, summer. This was the vote on the grassy areas. I think we discussed this maybe 6-ish months ago. It's been a while, but it is intended for this spring, summer to get some grassy,
They sod it or seed it or something.
seed it, so some of it's gonna be more turf-like, and then some of it's gonna be stuff that you don't have to maintain so frequently. And that's just temporary, that is not a long-term solution, the plan is still developing, but this gave a more usable approach for the interim at a more affordable price than having it sit there and now and use
Be a
it.
dirt pile, yep.
Oh, good, I did update this one. County Road 116, Tavera neighborhood, it was approved at council in 2022. It's currently graded, post-development, nothing is on site. No active plans are in place currently for design or development, and the work is to be determined. There is a small parking lot that leads up to it, so there is parking there that has been paved and is ready to go.
Can you remind me, is that off of Hackmore? I'm trying to, it's been
Yeah.
3 years.
This
I
one
don't- 4
is,
years, I don't know.
it
Yeah,
extends, I think it's still Gleason.
Gleason.
on the west side of
Think
116.
how you get into Ravinia, you would go
Yeah.
one way and then this goes the other
Yeah.
way, and then it just keeps going down that road straight. I
Oh,
can-
it does, okay, I was thinking it came in down further.
I
That's
can
fine.
pop out and get into a
If you-
map if you want.
If you want,
Give me one.
yeah, I need the reminder, sorry.
Yeah, that's helpful.
No, you're good.
Yeah, look at it every day.
And this is all dirt right now, or this is
But
grass?
it's-
This is dirt and maybe some stray vegetation. Some area.
Hackmore, Ravinia, Wildflower, it's all of this.
Thank you.
Okay, so it is located right here.
So that's the parking lot, that's structure,
Mhm.
okay.
And it comes in, it's Horseshoe Trail, I apologize, it does not apparently come to.
And that's 116?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So 116, Gleason's over here, this is Horseshoe Trail, so I misspoke.
That's right.
And then it continues down and has parking lot, small.
And then we have access there, it looks like. Click on
Is
that
it that whole
lot.
property,
This
that
one?
both those lots?
Okay, so we got access.
That's.
Yep,
small.
and I think that was a topic of discussion.
Yeah, I do kind of
about,
remember that.
Connecting the trail to the, I'm assuming sidewalk,
Okay.
Is it just the blue area right there? That's
Is
the
it-
part?
and this.
It's
Well,
both.
and that.
Is
It is
well.
blue, okay.
Nice sized park.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Yes. Give me 1 second to pop back. You may be familiar with this one, Heritage Park. Eastern parcel was donated in 1973, western parcel purchased in 2018. It is currently under construction, you might be aware. It is projected in the future to have pickleball courts, so that was approved at council. It was the prepping the area, but not fully committing to the construction quite yet. And then the splash pad area is also stubbed to, and the area is prepped, but not installed quite at this time. Hockey rinks, eastern parcel, that area is kind of TBD for the future as they are continuing to age. Then there's the old Sturbridge Ravinia OSP. I showed two kind of overviews. It didn't change a lot, but it changed a little. It was approved at council in 2021. Currently, this. Projected future work, trails, and to be determined beyond that. Feel free to stop me if there's any questions or comments in the time being. Northeast Corcoran / Bellwether Open Space Park. The boardwalk, I think, if I didn't show you guys this one, I showed you
that's
something
nice.
similar. We're getting there. And then I highlighted on the map the location. approved at council in phases again, 2018, 2020, 2022, different from the neighborhood park phases, just slightly. It currently has a paved trail loop, trail legs, and a boardwalk under construction. Projected future work to be determined, up to you.
Why is it being approved 3 times?
It's the different additions coming in, and it's how it's broken up.
Okay, got it, so they just have to, yeah, okay.
How they donate the land is
Yeah,
dependent, but,
Mhm.
yeah. And then the ongoing development, likely based on opportunity and as it arises, is the County Road 116 linear park. The left photo is this afternoon, and the right photo is just kind of an overview of that St. Therese section. Currently, there is a discussion regarding that portion. We talked about it, I think, either last meeting or the one before. Projected future trail work, potentially other items, benches, to be determined. So I pulled this from the park standards policy. Does this kind of encapsulate the park vision still? The collaboration between other agencies, like partnering agencies. We've partnered with the JCs, the Soccer Association, the Athletic Association. Connectivity, so trails, gathering areas, those open green spaces. Landscaping and natural features, so really highlighting those areas and trying to keep them natural when possible. Policy development and inclusion, site amenities, so that we don't forget benches and trashes. And then there was also a comment of a unique consideration at each park. So whether that be the fact that Heritage Park has a farm-themed or egg-themed approach, that's unique. Maybe a park had a challenge course, I think was also listed. Also shown on the right is something from the Becker comp plan, which I thought was a really good example that Gabby had shared with me. This was what their preference was for a neighborhood park. And I think we've had the discussion enough times about what you guys would like to see, and I think it's helpful to see it in a graphic. And this is something that could be modified and included in a Parks and Trails plan. I don't think we did as good of a job trying to explain to you what it really entails and what you could get, if that's fair.
So this is a generic plan, but it's trying to show here's what you could put into a park, right?
Correct. And so not shown on here, obviously there are a bunch of numbers. One is connected to a frontage road. 2, I think, was looping trails, or maybe that was 3, and 2 was wetland mitigation. They really call out the things that they value. They had 3 different shown. So one of them was like, this is our highest top tier preference. This is acceptable, we'll take it, but we prefer this other one. And then something totally unacceptable was like a flagship park, and we've talked about that a little bit, where it kind of has a trail into the park, but it's not on a frontage road, and you can't really see it, and so you have to access it kind of in a weird-ish way. So I wanted to include this just as like a example. This could make your visions kind of more tangible, I guess.
Yeah, that's nice. I like that.
Follow-up question about the vision. I took it, I tried to put it in a 2-sentence, and I know it seems long. The font's just really big. Take a second to read through it. Does this kind of meet the vision? If we are to move forward on something like this, we need kind of a clear vision, and you guys did the work on the back end. We just didn't fully know we were preparing so well. So if this still all works, this is kind of what we could go off of.
Is the last word intended to be needs?
Yep,
Okay.
unless you want to talk about volleyball now.
I was gonna say,
I was gonna ask what it meant, so, okay, thank you.
I
it's good, though.
appreciate
It's good.
I appreciate the grace. I was working on this all week because this was one of our last minute ads last
Yeah.
week.
Yeah.
So my bad.
The word in the last sentence, you have the word consistency. I'm wondering what is being consistent?
So when I put that in there, I was nervous about that, which is why unique features is also in that same sentence. Because I think consistency more in design, thinking like those wayfinding and kind of standards of, like, you expect to have trails in every park, I would assume, for the most part. There are gonna be standard things that should be consistent, but there should also be unique features. So if there's a better way to put it, happy to hear it. Otherwise, I can ask the intern, as Counselor Nichols would say.
Maybe consistency with unique features?
Consistency alongside unique features? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
It might be thoughtful, consistent design.
Yes. If that works for everyone else. Chair?
Well done. Yes.
Like that. The one thing that came to mind is anything about, like, I didn't see you have the word recreation, but like, just like something about like health, like being healthy, like well-being, or, you know, like you go to a park to be active, right? And
I will
stay
come and say
active.
not always. There is passive recreation.
That's true.
And I will say within the park standards policy, you guys have it called out that you want spaces that can oftentimes support passive and active recreation in the same space.
Okay.
So if you want to do something like healthy, I think that makes sense. If you really want to lean into the health aspect, passive recreation can increase and has health benefits.
Yeah, or just like well-being or something.
Birding, people love to bird.
We're trying to cram a lot into these
Yeah.
2 sentences.
Would you like me
So
to try and make it shorter? Are there areas that speak more to you that?
I'm just wondering if we could take some out and have it be a more concise vision, because we could
You'll
still
find
have a lot
most
of this.
Most, if not all of these words.
Yeah, you
Here in
kinda, I
something
can
there.
see what your, the thought process here, but the vision doesn't have to list everything our park should have.
And if the option to move forward was chosen, Gabby has seen the park standards. She felt that it was a really good start, but something that is a little more concise can help really hone in. I know this
So-
isn't concise.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm laughing.
Well, another, like a vision, in previous other situations where I've done like a vision, it's like we exist to blank so that group blank can do blank, kind of like just to keep, like really condense it. It's like we exist for this reason so that this group or people can do this kind of a thing. If it's like a really wanting to shorten it. I don't want to rewrite it, but in the essence of
Yeah.
shortening
Please
it
feel free to read
or
I hate to
condensing
say
it.
But you could run this through an AI to, with correct messaging.
Already did.
Okay, yeah.
I
further?
present to you
Yeah.
the intro
Okay.
that I
The
then took
output
and
from-
typed in, so it wasn't the intern's fault with the typo.
Yeah.
That was all me. You're welcome.
Oh, is that what we call it when we don't want to give it to the intern? Got it. I'm slow.
It's good though,
Okay,
isn't
yeah,
it?
that is good. I like that.
It's not mine. So, hear me out. I can come back with a more Commissioner Schmidt-esque. I think that style makes sense. I don't think that this is hitting the nail on the head. I think Corcoran's Parks and Trails system exists too, and then
Provide.
from there, I'll
Yeah,
talk
this
to
is like
Seth and
the
Adrian.
description that comes after the vision, you know. It's kinda
Maybe
hard
this is
reading,
like
but
the goals.
Yeah, it reads
Maybe
more
this
like
is
that.
more part of the goals.
Or purpose statement too, that's another way of putting it. Yeah, goals, purpose statements.
All right. We'll come back discussion was the playbook. So this was part of the implementation section, and we'll get to that. I do have more in-depth slides about that stuff later. It was proposed with like different types of like PUDs and different ways of bringing the plans forward. Gabby and I talked, we think project schedule by park type might make more sense. If you're gonna get a neighborhood park, here's kind of the steps you would generally follow. We can understand that there's a need to get the parks developed when they come in, but we are situationally behind right now. And so getting caught up on our current problems might need to be priority, I guess, from this point of view. And if there's alternative thoughts, let me know. But right now we have some undeveloped parks, and even if we get more in tomorrow, does that become the new priority? It seems like
Right, yeah, it goes to the bottom of the list and then
and that's
Yeah, it
part
all
of the discussion, right? But if we have kind of the project schedule and the template of how to get from here to there, that seems to benefit us more in the current stage we're in. Additionally, there was discussion of a menu broken out by park type, so this might have repeat items throughout different parks. Playgrounds, trails, likely pretty standard in a lot of them. This could help speed up development process with a clear option list and some estimates. Helps provide more realistic numbers. Sample schedule on the right side, I would go through it all, but honestly, we still have Parks and Trails Commission training if you guys want to do that later. So I'm gonna keep pushing forward. The Parks and Trails plan, so this is what Gabby had presented. I'm not gonna go through all of it right now because I do have slides on each of them. First one, so the Parks and Trails System overview. This is an overview of the existing parks and open spaces, parks that require development, future parkland needs, current and future trail connections, and current amenities. So anywhere from 2,500 to 5,000 for this section.
Yeah, that is the price, what is it that costs that much now? To write this, to turn it in?
So it's the maps, it's the
Okay.
going through the work to
Consulting
create the
all that.
maps. And Gabby and I are going to be in discussion more between now and if there is a recommendation to move forward about what can kind of double within the comp plan, if there's like cost savings option somewhere, if it's easier to stick with the same person who's doing the comp plan for all of it. We really want to explore what the best option is for the city, what's going to work out best, but this could potentially be a cost savings too. Goals, so this has inventory, conditions, and needs assessment, so it takes into account what we have, how's it look, and what are we missing. It determines funding sources and possible partners and collaborators, and it lays out the responsibility of each agency as appropriate. So example, Diamond Lake Regional Trail. Example, a Hennepin County trail that maybe we are in collaboration with. And it really sets the vision for the Parks and Trail system. So this is why I'm having you guys think about the vision, so that we can maybe have it impact everything. This is anywhere from 4,000 to 7,500, dependent on what all you're kind of looking for. If this all looks good-ish, we could have Gabby come back with more of a scope. I don't know if I have to go to council first before we can really put a scope together, but I wanted to get the feedback of the commission because I don't want to go off the rails if you're not expecting these items, or if you want more, or if you want less. Short-term action plan and asset management. So it prioritizes projects, it gives a timeline, investment recommendation, a funding source, and a budget estimate. So it really hones in on how much is it going to cost, when is a realistic timeline for this, how do we get there, where are the funding sources coming from. And then an asset management tool, so it's got tabs and sheets and cost estimates for a variety of park and rec investments, i.e. splash pads, i.e. playground, i.e. larger playground, i.e. pavilion, what have you, it's something that could be incredibly beneficial as part of the menu option too, so that you guys can kind of pull and understand how much things are in this general time frame. And I think, if I remember how she was describing it correctly, it would also include inflation over X amount of years with it too. So very beneficial. Implementation, so this would lay out realistic priorities and phasing and implementation timelines for the parks. So defining when it can be done. The capital improvement project spreadsheet, we currently have one playground being built. We have one that is 7, 8 years old. So these are things that have to start being considered and put on the CIP. So this would help kind of lay that out for us, how much do we really need to start saving, and kind of lay out a game plan so that we're not falling behind when we're already a little behind. Operational initiatives outlook, so improvements and outlook on operational needs, including staffing and trying to keep up with, if you're getting these extra amenities, here are the tangible things on the side that you need to consider. Who's going to maintain it? How are we upkeeping it? What are the maintenance costs long term? And then a project review process. This one I can kind of go either way on. I think we went through something similar of how someone would bring a project forward. We more so did it with like memorial benches or benches that people wanted to donate, of like laying out a process on how they would come forward with a new spot. If you felt that this was really necessary, we could bring something forward, or we could have HKGI create something as part of this to allow a plan for people to bring forward their suggestions. I don't think it's totally necessary. We're small enough, they'll come to a meeting. I think we're good for now, but it's out there. Oh, my picture didn't work. That's such a bummer. Okay. Well, the areas of consideration. What is the vision of the Parks and Trails Commission? It sounds like I will come back with some better verbiage that isn't so intern-esque. Is there an order to the development of certain parks in your mind right now? Like, is there a priority level given either the timeline of when they were accepted by council? Is there a timeline? It's hard because I think to ask you guys to prioritize this without having real tangible numbers, but knowing how long a park has been there, I think it's more challenging. And so I wanted to get your thoughts if I'm misunderstanding that, or if you do have priority levels for what you'd like to see, how they get developed. Is it, I want to see this one, then this one, then that one? Is it, I want more information about what our budget looks like and what our options are? And I think this plan could kind of help flesh that out a little more. But I also don't want to push you into spending money if you don't want to. And this would likely come from park dedication, which is my other reason for some hesitation, right?
Is this coming from HKGI? They're saying, hey, here's some ideas that for all these different costs that they're coming up with?
Yes, so all of the teal slides came from pretty much HKGI. She provided this graphic from your packet from last week.
Yeah, I remember that, yeah. So is this being pushed by them though?
No. We requested it.
Okay.
We requested more information about it. One of the goals of the council was discussions of a Parks and Trails plan. So no, they did not come to us and they're like, hey, we're building your playground also.
Here's a few other add-ons we can, okay,
No.
I just wanted to make sure.
No, and quite frankly, she's been very amenable to all of the changes and questions and everything that I've had, so, no,
Okay.
But these are all things they specialize in, they've done for other communities.
They have-
It's like part of their whole offering. right?
And I would be happy to send over maybe some options of like, hey, they've done this one, this one, this one, as like, I really liked the Becker one, and I think they've also done Otsego. And based on the fact that Otsego's signs seem to get rave reviews at the joint work session, maybe Otsego has a good vision that
Yeah,
we can pull some of from while keeping
it's
it
okay
Corcoran.
to get some inspiration.
Mhm.
from other
Mhm.
people.
But I think it would also kind of help you see what it is.
Yeah, it's very hard to say what we need just by looking at a list of,
Mhm.
we're gonna prioritize this, and we're gonna help organize that. And it's like, what's the end product? What are we getting for $5,000?
Would it be
It's kinda
helpful
hard.
to send some links
Some
of like,
examples would be nice.
ones you can
Yeah.
poke around in, maybe I send like 10 over,
That would, yeah.
and then if you don't like the look of one, you can move on to the next one and you can email me back and say, I hated that one.
Yeah, I think that'd be helpful.
Because that also helps with a vision of what you would want this to look like, and if there's pieces from some of these that you say, we could really benefit from this. I hate to give 50 pages of homework times 10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is this, are these paper documents that they'd be making for us?
They would be
Notebooks?
electronic, are you looking for like a bound one?
Well, I'm just, either PDF
It'd be
form.
PDF, yep.
I have to say, that feels really 1990s.
A PDF?
Absolutely. It feels like this should all be real time. This should be.
Like GIS?
This should be a piece of work where you plug in, where the data that you bring up for cost is not what it was 3 years ago, plus their guess at what inflation was gonna be. It should be a real cost. This should be a much more automated system. It should be, so, because my point is that when you get the document, it's taken them some 9 months. It's almost a year out of date when you get it.
That, yeah.
And by 5 years down the road, it sits in a desk drawer because it's just not very useful anymore.
Yeah, that was kind of part of my thought, was like, when you sign up for this, do they enter you into some sort of contractual agreement where they stay with us for years and continue to update the content? Like, do they stay on top of it, or does it outdate within a year?
So I think I can help answer 2 questions. Some of the documents would be Excel spreadsheets, so I guess I should have not misspoke. It's not all
That's fine.
PDF.
Yep.
So you can still plug and play. These PDF, or the Excel documents, these are real numbers right now because they are working on all of these projects and
Yep.
installing, so
Yep.
they're keeping that updated.
Okay.
I can ask her what it looks like to get maybe that updated number every so often. I would say, transparently, there's still work that goes into them updating the numbers, right? So like, I wouldn't be surprised if there was a charge, but I don't think it hurts to ask, and at this point, we've built a good rapport with them, and to Commissioner Schmidt's point, we've been, at this point, bouncing a lot of big picture plans off of them and big picture questions. So they've kind of been doing it for us, kind of ish.
Yeah.
With some of the visions, but this is getting it more in
More
document, a
formalized?
form that we can actually use and go back to. I think there are some pieces I can definitely see where your point of, well, then it just gets kind of dated. I think there's other pieces, if there was an interest in doing concept plans for some of these parks, which I have some hesitation because I don't know how you would get community engagement with that. And that could be discussed with Gabby as well, but then you have something you can run with right away. And while the numbers might be slightly off, you adjust for inflation, and that's gonna happen either way if you make a plan, right? And public engagement would be led by staff, so if you're ever trying to get a new pulse point, you'll still have that person. Are there other areas that you would want me to reach out and see what does it look like to keep this part of it ongoing? And part of that might change, I mean, if for some reason this arrangement doesn't work out and we decide to go to a different vendor or consultant, is that the new person that would update it? I mean, I think that's part of the reason too. But I'm certainly happy to go back and ask those questions.
And maybe just the way that I think about it. We do it, this isn't a one and done. This isn't something that's gonna, this isn't a heritage document that we'll use for the next 30 years. This is kind of a 5-year layout. In 5 years, we'll need to look at it.
5, 10?
Yeah, 5
I
or
mean,
10.
it could last
Could last as long as a comp plan.
similar to a comp plan,
Comp plan,
yes.
Similar to a comp plan. Yeah, that's fair.
Which then makes the price points make more sense.
Yes.
The point is to function for, depending on what we opt in for, right? I mean, if the current plan is just existing parks, trails, and open space, and then the planned trails and open space, well, then that is literally a comp plan for the most part. Questions?
Which of these, maybe columns to make it easier, which of these would make your life easier? Like, which one excites you the most as someone who's in the thick of all of it?
Transparently, all of them.
They're just, you want, yeah.
I was kind of
That's
candid
okay.
during the joint work session. It's been really hard to keep working on a plan that doesn't exist. And like, it does require a lot more coming back and coming back and coming back and rechecking that the vision matches, whereas this document would be that vision of like something to reference.
It's set, yeah.
So candidly, all of it except for public engagement.
Okay.
Like, I'm still excited to do public engagement, but I'm more excited to get the help. Like, so if anyone is pushing, I hope it's not me. I don't want you to feel like I'm pushing for it, but I'm happy that it's even being considered as.
Well, certainly, historically, if you look back at why we had so much trouble kind of getting off the ground on City Park, it's because we didn't have this sort of tool available. We were trying to invent the airplane as we were flying one. You know, it was hard. And this is designed to make that not be so hard, to give a roadmap for development to go down. And if it's good, it really helps. If it's not good, it doesn't help much. I mean, I think, and I think this looks really pretty good. It is detail oriented, you know.
And if it would be helpful, I can figure out what the process is to get a scope that could actually be reviewed. Right now, we're going high level, right? Like, and at the end of this, I have in here, do you want to make a recommendation to council? I don't envision that, right? I would assume that you would like to see the scope before that. I just don't have one, and I want to make sure we're following the rules.
So when we added all those dollars together, is there another side?
I didn't do it because there would have been such a range.
Such a range, yeah. Okay.
It would depend so much on,
Yeah. It's not free by any means, but it shouldn't be.
no, I think it was about 40 or 50, depending on what the feedback is on what you're looking for.
I don't know what the total cost of putting together the comp plan is. That would be the comparison.
And when is that coming due?
Well,
By they start to work on it?
start working on that this year, I think.
Anticipated for fall.
Yeah. And a
Happy
lot,
comp plan season.
yeah, well, it usually is comp plan or almost, or just recent history. You know, so 1 year off there.
Do you mind if I go back to the,
Questions?
yes, or you had questions?
No.
Okay.
Yes, yeah.
So it doesn't sound like there's necessarily an order to the development of certain parks.
I think we should come up with some sort of priority, because we have obligations to these parks that are sitting out there, and some are just dirt, right?
Yes.
Yes.
First question is, can we put grass in the ones that are just dirt for the time being? Because if one of them sat, back in 2018 and it's still dirt, is that something we can realistically do?
Until we have the money to do it?
Is
I
that,
don't know what it costs for
Yeah.
seed to throw down, but like, versus
mean-
having it on
As
dirt.
soon as you do that, then you do need to mow it.
Right,
But-
Good point.
right,
But, yeah, so it's not, but yeah, it's not even really an open space, it's not a play area.
right, it's not,
It's just,
at least grass, it's a park that kids can roll around in, you
Yeah.
know, and,
Throw a ball.
yeah,
Picnic.
and
Yeah.
it's hard, it
So-
might be worth the maintenance.
Can I ask a follow-up question?
Mhm.
Let's say a development comes in, and this might need some further panning, but development comes in, maybe they even use the area for staging. After they're done,
They grade it, they seed it or sod it, and then they're out of there.
and then,
We have to maintain, we have to mow it, it's part of our,
or the HOA, hire the HOA. to
yeah,
do it.
whatever's easiest for maintenance, but
is that
that would be great
a
to have.
consensus? I mean, I can bring this back, I'm not saying that this is happening,
Yeah.
I could just bring it back to like Natalie and Kevin.
That would be great, because it's like one part of what our park process would be, right? But while we're waiting, because some of these parks have already been sitting, they don't look that great, and it probably reflects poorly on the city. So that,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know how much we owe yet on the park over there? Where are we at on dollars of paying for Heritage Park?
That is a loaded question and dependent on what all you want to include, which is why I'm having a hard time coming to you with like a full number. I've been asked this question about 6 different ways, and I
Sure.
have no good way to answer it.
Okay.
We are on track, on budget,
Okay,
from the consulting and the actual construction,
Mhm.
aside from the change orders that were approved at council. So the layers to this being, I have consultant numbers to factor in, and if not for the prep work, at least for construction administration. And then there's the cost of the contractors that are out there. And then the change orders, are we counting that against the budget or alongside the budget? So all in all, can I come back to you next meeting and give you a better idea if you tell me exactly what numbers you want?
well,
It's
obviously
evolving.
there's still money going into the fund.
I can tell you where we're
But-
at with park dedication,
Well, yeah, we've got that on here,
and
what
I'm
we've got
trying to
in
get
there,
a
but,
projection alongside park dedication, but we also have
but once
stuff.
Heritage Parks is done, what are we gonna be left with? I
And
think is what
that's
you're-
the
Yeah.
number I can say I
I
can
mean,
give
I'm
you.
not
Okay,
saying
great.
that,
That I
Yeah,
can
then
do,
perfect, but-
I'm just not in a position to like, there's
Yeah.
too many contracts and budgets for me to maintain that, and
Okay, as far as prioritizing parks, I think as a general overview, we could say the age of when the park was approved, the proximity to other parks, and then the third point would be any externalities that are specific to that park. Like, is the developer gonna do some of the construction, or do we have a special grant to do something, right? That might increase the priority of that park, but those top two things, I think, is how we look at that. So right now, if you pulled up that list, if it was in list form, we could prioritize right now, generally. It's not even perfect, but generally, I think we could do that.
the second thing was a nearby other park.
Yeah, so we're not like prioritizing this park when residents have access to another park that's 2 miles away or whatever it is.
So can I give you a scenario that would happen right now?
Yeah, go for it.
If that's the case, then the Bellwether Neighborhood Park wouldn't get constructed for a while?
These aren't like hard and fast rules.
No, I know,
right?
I'm just
Yeah.
playing
Oh,
devil's
because the
advocate.
open space park is right next to it.
Or is it based on
But
the
we
type
may,
of
we
park?
may decrease that in the priority.
Because of age?
Yeah, so
Or
it might,
other
it might,
factors.
yeah, so it might, it's just one criteria that we could say, oh, you know what? It is close to another park, maybe we don't need, and if construction is going on or whatever, then obviously we're gonna see it through, but we might deprioritize that park a little more. Right.
Because there's something nearby that they can access.
Yep, but then there might be some externality specific to that park that says, no, we're actually gonna raise that up in the priority list. So the 3 is kind of that catch-all, because there's gonna be specific things to every single park.
And to your point, if they had talked about the veterans gambling dollars.
Yep, all of a sudden we get a bunch of money coming in, well, prioritize that park, let's get it done.
I just proved your point for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
System works, system works.
Thank you, Chair.
Yeah.
The Ravinia Open Space Park should not be developed yet, because it sits on the northern border of it is
Golf courses.
the golf course. And there is not good access to the park excepting by Old Sturbridge Road, which should not be the access to an open space park.
Yeah.
It's just too small a neighborhood road. And so that should absolutely wait until the golf course is developed.
Is that the one that was approved back in 2018?
And
And that's probably why we haven't done it.
we haven't done it, well, the only thing we did was we decided we were not gonna put sewer and water in there. Up at this point.
We walked through all the mosquitoes.
Yeah, but because the new development, when it goes in, the job of that new development will be to provide good access to that open space park. And that will be determined where the trails actually go, because it knows where the parking lot will be. So we just have to wait.
Yeah, all these slides that you did for each park is great, and if we could have that,
Email?
no, not even email, like updated from time to time in a list format, would be really helpful for our meetings. And during one of our sections, we could, let's review our parks and see where we're at. Are there any action items that we need to push forward to our next park meeting?
So make this a monthly,
It doesn't even have to be monthly.
Maybe quarterly.
I mean, yeah, quarterly would be great. You know, I don't want to add a bunch more work, but it
no, but to
shouldn't
be
be that
fair,
hard.
we could put it on the Parks, Trails, and Recreation update,
And
and then I
then-
don't have to give you so much about me, and I can tell you. the
Yeah,
rest of it.
and we would also get to know these parks, and we would all know what you just said. Oh, that's why we're not developing
That's
the
why
park.
we're
Or
not.
if I see the slide, I'm like, why haven't we done any of that, you know? Okay, now I know. And
We can incorporate park tours at some point, if that interests anyone.
it's
The
hard
only
to
thing
do
is the
coordinate
extra
schedules
time.
and stuff. Like, I love park tours, but,
I can also assign park tours.
oh, like,
Homework.
you got a month to drive to that park?
And write a 500
Yeah.
word report on what you saw.
No,
There's the-
I don't want to read those.
That's right, you know. I was thinking, you know, we were just talking about putting grass on neighborhood parks. If you do that, then you can tell where the trails should go, where the paths should go. Because the citizens will
They'll
wear
walk- they'll wear it out
They'll walk
like a-
where they want
yeah.
to walk. And
like
that's
a
where
deer
you-
trail.
That's where you put your trail.
Yeah, right.
To your point,
That's legit.
a more detailed version of this would be included within the parks plan, like laying out the assets.
I get that, yeah, yeah.
I mean, which would be a long-term thing, but short-term,
Yeah, I think it'd be.
given that there's not a lot to list quite
Right.
yet, but like, that could help us set out what might be in there,
Right, yeah.
so. The land. Is there a interest in recommending anything to?
Recommend we put grass out in our dirt fields.
Is that an action?
No,
Okay.
it's not. Can you just maybe pass that along?
Yes, I am gonna bring that back to the powers that be. And is there any additional information that the commission wants to share following the joint work session? I know I did receive an email about wayfinding. If anyone would like to share, or I can anonymously share.
No, I can share that.
About what?
About wayfinding, that we ought to be really careful to include whatever languages the people in that neighborhood are speaking, so that most of the park should have a second language, Spanish, I think, for if not every single sign, at least some of the signs. Nothing, if you're a Spanish speaker, to go to a park where there's nothing in Spanish is not welcoming, and we need to be welcoming.
Do we have an idea of the demographics of the area and
Well,
how much
Yeah,
our
it's a good question.
primary Spanish, like, because if it's 1%,
Yep, and I'm sure that if you go over to Ravinia, there's a fairly high South Asian population, but that doesn't help much, because there are Hindi speakers or Bengali speakers or
There's too
Urdu
many.
speakers, and those are entirely different languages.
yeah, my only pushback is, what percentage of the population
Yeah.
is only native, like, non-English native speaking?
Yeah, and I guess I was thinking in particular of Heritage Park, which is the park for the whole
For
city.
everyone, yes.
For everyone.
So, Miss Technology over here, Could on the sign there be a QR code that could translate it into different languages?
Not a bad idea.
You,
I
look
think
at
that-
you.
I think that's real.
Wow.
Yeah,
I don't know, I have no idea, but
yeah.
those QR codes do a lot of things.
It links you to a website and,
Mhm.
you know.
I don't see why
You
not.
could leverage
I mean, most people, they hold in their hand the ability to translate anything
That's
on their
That's
web.
true,
So
too.
like,
Yeah,
QR code will probably be out of date within a year, because our glasses are gonna, something's gonna be different, so we probably don't need that necessarily, but.
sure.
And I did bring it up to Gabby, we followed up on Monday, I think, and I said, whatever ideas you got, in thinking about it, I don't think it would go on the monument sign, because that's gonna be your park name, more than likely, and then the address and the logo, I think, is what was decided,
Yeah.
or recommended by the team, and so,
But there'll be some big
informational
wayfinding,
wayfinding.
if not, you know, just make people, let people feel really welcome, you know. And it also says to all the English speakers, oh, it's not just for us guys, you know, this park is for everybody. It's important, I think, to do that.
The one other thing from what do we want out of this plan, and we talked about at the work session, is, so if we can get caught up on all these other parks, which I don't even know how we will because we don't have the money, right? But then the next step would be, as we have parks come in, how do we get it done? So it's not just, oh, drop that park to the bottom of the list and we'll get to it when we get to it. So I think part of that, one of those plans that we'd be paying for would include, here's a streamlined process to approve a park, right? Is
A
that,
park, and then it would also provide a timeline, and we would be working with her, like, both with what we have currently in the park dedication. I know Natalie tries to project like a year out based on what we have for developments in the queue, she's done that. And I could ask her to try and get that done again,
so
but
question along those lines, in theory, all the parks, is the park fee intended to provide enough funding to get the park done? Because it doesn't seem like it is. Like the one tonight, we're gonna get $30,000, that's not gonna buy us, I don't know, 50 feet of trail.
keeping in mind you lose 25% of it, or 28,
Okay, yeah.
because you're getting
Yeah,
or you're getting the land,
Yeah.
or, so it's hard because like, yes, you're not getting the development pieces, but
we're
you're
always
getting,
gonna be behind, based on our current system. I don't see any way around it, right? Unless we,
but there are stipulations as to how much you can ask for and why. And so,
No, I get
we
that.
work through
I
that
get that.
annually,
Yeah.
Natalie does.
Well, there are pieces of property that develop that we don't have a trail through, so
we
it's
take the
just,
money, yeah,
it's
it
a
goes into
cash
the park,
only deal. So as some of those develop,
Yeah,
you know, it's just kind of, I don't want to call it cash in hand, but,
yeah.
Cash
you
in
know.
lieu.
yes, there you go.
Okay, would this plan give us future-looking numbers like that? To say, here's the parks on our comp plan, or in this plan, that we will have in the future. Here's the total of the parks dedication that we can expect over the next number of years. Do those match up, or should we reduce the amount of parks we're planning?
I don't, unless you knew everyone that was gonna come in and develop,
We have so much developable land. And I
you're
know
not wrong.
It's gonna take a long time to do it.
But it also depends on what they come in with, and so then you're going down the rabbit hole of the comp plan of what is it zoned as, and How much could
it's
you
impossible,
potentially
is what you're
get?
saying.
it would be a very lot of work and much more than the cost of the
So
zoning.
then part of our plan needs to be us prioritizing getting money versus getting land, even if it shows a park on the comp plan. Well, look, we already have a list of 5 or 6 parks that we don't have the money to even get started on. So why are we taking more land that's not gonna be touched for another 10 years,
Because
potentially?
we have had success with grants, I will say.
Okay.
There are alternative funding options. I'm not saying relying on grants is the only way to do it,
Yeah,
but
and all I'm saying is that as the list of undeveloped parks grows, our prioritization needs to shift to getting cash in lieu, right? Where if now we only have 1 or 2 parks that are sitting as dirt or grass, ideally, then our prioritization can shift to, okay, let's take more land when we can get it, right? I know it's not up to us, but we can change our priority, right?
And to be fair, I think the comp plan will provide some good insights as to, here is how much parkland should be in this area
Yeah.
of the MUSA, and
So part of what when we laid out made the list of all the parks, the park search areas.
Yeah.
It's heavily weighted to the eastern side of town, because that's where the development is. Now that as we start our new comp plan, we should be finding those neighborhood sites for the neighborhood parks over a stripe and probably across the northern edge, because it sure looks like development is going to come down from the north. And get those little circles in there, so when the developer comes and
Yeah.
says, then we have some notion over whether there should be a neighborhood park there. And now would be the time to identify those high-quality natural areas, if there are some, so that we can put our neighborhood park at the edge of one of those, or have an open space park that includes some,
Yeah.
so that we don't get caught short. Otherwise you find there's no place to put the park.
Yeah, there's a lot of information that we need
Yeah.
that we don't necessarily have, and that makes it hard to make decisions. Like, you can make a decision in a vacuum, to say, hey, that land looks great, let's take it. But when we already have 10 undeveloped parks,
Yeah.
or we have no money in the Parks Fund, or whatever it is, changes how we think about things, right?
Yeah.
So, anyways, that's nothing that you can really work with.
I mean,
A little bit.
yeah, I feel like I can go back and really hammer home the grass concept. I've
Nothing
heard
else.
it. No, I think this has been helpful. I'll hone in on the vision. It sounds like there's kind of maybe a development order, but
Yeah.
not specifically which parks, but just a criteria that could be considered to determine which parks.
Yeah, and if,
It's pretty hard to say that the two neighborhood parks that have not been developed, they're at the top of my list, you know?
yeah, I think if we do what we were saying and come together with the list at every parks meeting and make it part of a thing, then we'll have everyone talk about them, and we'll all basically come together on a consensus of what's priority for the parks, and that can get passed along to.
What I will say, realistically, right now, I cannot take another park project.
Yeah.
Especially not going into
Yeah.
March.
Well, when is Heritage Park, and when do we open it, when is it gonna be, when is your workload gonna get less?
When do we hire more?
The program coordinator
Yeah.
starts
Yeah.
May 19th, I want to say, but Heritage Park is anticipated to be done at the end of May. With exception to the grass that has to grow back, the vegetation
Sure,
that has to
sure.
grow, understandably so.
Yeah.
But I don't want someone to go out there and think, oh wow, I can just run on the soccer field. That will need a year to rehab, just because we did tear it up and seeded it in the fall. So,
But pretty soon you will not be spending part of every day out on site.
It'll be a different park.
I'm dreaming.
You're dreaming.
It's been really fun. It's just a very, very big project.
Yes, oh, yeah.
I think it's not unrealistic if in the future, we can handle more, but with something this size and a park plan, I just want to make sure expectations aren't here and here. Fair?
Absolutely.
Unless you guys direct me otherwise, I think you do have that authority.
No, that's fine.
Let's get this one done first.
Yeah.
Our seasons are short
Yeah.
for that kind of stuff, so.
Well, and apparently they become summer and then they change back.
Okay, do you have what you need? Or do you
Mhm.
want to pull up that list of questions and make sure we
Mm-mm.
checked them
No,
off?
we went
Okay.
through 'em.
Okay, good. All right, then let's move on. Is this the commissioner training that we pushed off earlier?
We
Can't
did not
remember what
push it
happened.
off
We
this
didn't?
year.
Okay.
I will be very transparent with you. It is 23 slides, 8:30 at night, and we're missing 3 people. I don't think tonight is the meeting if you're looking for a
I
staff
think that's a
recommendation.
really
Yep.
I will say,
good observation.
in looking at it, it looks really nice.
It does.
You did a really good job.
We look forward
I look forward
to the whole
We
thing.
saw it.
Yeah.
The other thing is I did really want it to be something that like you can refer back
That
to.
would be great,
We don't necessarily have to go through it even if you don't want to. I am glad that it's updated though. And I used that as the template for tonight's other thing.
Yeah, I think an overview would be great at least. We don't have to spend an hour going through it.
But maybe a quick 20 minutes at the
Yeah,
next one,
let's try
depending
for the
on what
next
the
meeting.
workload is
Do we need to make a
and
motion?
attendance. Just table it, I guess.
Okay, let's table it, you guys. I mean,
Agreed.
Sounds good.
fellow commissioners,
That work?
not you guys.
He's my Roberts rules of.
I can make a motion to table,
All right,
item 8B.
okay, and I will second it. All those in favor?
Aye.
It's been tabled. All right, now let's move on to reports, information, planning, project update.
Well, you learned about Karanimi orchards. There really hasn't been a whole lot that's changed since last meeting. Of course, as Springs at Corcoran further develops throughout the planning process, I would be very surprised if it doesn't come to the Parks and Trails Commission for one, if not more things, since it's such a large development.
Which one is that?
Number
Six,
six,
okay.
yes. And then the 7, 8, 9 are just minimal projects, ADUs and accessory structures, so nothing parks related for those. So, but if you have any questions, just let us know. And if I don't know, I will talk to the content experts and get back to you. So I did send that planning project flow
Yes.
chart.
Appreciate that.
It almost makes things maybe
Yeah.
less clear, but
I love it.
you know, it's a place to look at
Yep.
if you for reference, I suppose. So
Any questions on that? Otherwise, we can keep moving. All right, Parks, Recreation, Trails update.
I have been incredibly busy this week with some personal items, and I'm happy to share it offline. I'm not going to put it on public record. So I don't have registration numbers, but I can email that out. You were at the joint work session. Other than that, wayfinding was approved, so I have
Great.
started working with Gabby to try and get her like sign pictures and whatever else she needs from a staff level. So we're moving, we're grooving, we're trying to get a sign at the park.
Super,
Good.
nice.
All right, thank you. Garden Club report. Tom, do we have anything?
You want to talk about, is a good
Tree
point,
giveaway.
trees?
Well, they've been ordered and we increased them, correct?
The Northwest Area JCs were kind enough to increase the amount that they were willing to donate, which allowed us to expand the number of trees that we ordered, which was fabulous because we were in the hole. As of now, I think we have, what, 50-ish trees left?
yeah,
40, 50? So if anyone is interested,
50, a little over 50, maybe even 60.
50, 60,
56.
56.
Sorry.
Final answer. If anyone is interested in trying to reserve trees, please contact myself or Seth. I will forward it to Seth. And we will get it processed that way. There's just too few at this point and so many varieties that it's easier to just process by hand than
Yep.
cancel on Google Forms that people aren't looking at.
Okay.
And the trees are delivered end of April. I will send out a note to the garden club looking for help. And,
We have had some interest.
yeah,
And
Good.
Chair
Send it to all of
Christensen
us,
is
too.
volunteering to pick them up.
Pick them up,
Yeah.
yep. And I will get them to the place they need to be, but I don't think I can be
where
there
are
all
we
day.
going to distribute them from this year?
Oh, yeah. We can't.
Pavilion.
Pavilion, and the parking is available in the usual spot at the pavilion?
Yep,
Okay.
so that side should be mostly like good to go.
Okay, all
At this
play
point,
on the
they
park.
installed the trail, so.
Isn't the park all torn up?
So there's gonna be an area that's gonna have to get reseeded, but like up by the pavilion should be fine.
Yeah, the open
Mhm,
covering thing.
mhm.
Yep.
The star-shaped one?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Got it. Okay, good. Park dedication fund. Any questions on that? A lot of payments going out.
Yes.
And then you'll get us some sort of idea of.
Yep,
Excellent.
at the next meeting.
Perfect, thank you.
I apologize, I don't have it currently.
Yeah, that's all right.
I have been trying to put it together for months and then the numbers keep changing every
I
time I look at it.
And they'll change again too.
Uh-huh.
Okay, no questions on that? All right, great, no other business, so would someone like to make a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I'll make a motion to
All right,
adjourn.
we've got a motion, do we have a second?
I'll second
All
that.
right, great, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.